Here's the thing. After you have survived some kind of a toxic relationship, maybe even narcissistic abuse, you do feel like a victim because you have been victimized. But the thing is, it doesn't really serve you to stay in that mindset. It doesn't really serve you to start identifying as a victim, right? And that's what we see here on social media. There's such a huge following for narcissistic content. And I understand why. I myself make a lot of that content, and I understand why people are so interested in learning about narcissism, learning about toxic relationships, which is good. It's part of healing as well, but it's not really part of healing to stay a victim. Because if you stay a victim, you're gonna continue to be in situations that will make you a victim, okay? So you wanna realize what happened, okay? You wanna do your research, watch the YouTube videos. I can link to a bunch of videos here on my channel. Do your research and understand what you went through and why it happened, but make sure that you don't stay stuck at that stage. So after exiting a relationship like that, there are certain stages, okay? And learning about the relationship, learning about narcissism and toxic relationships, it is a stage of the process. But you will eventually have to leave that stage to move to the new stage, which is the empowerment stage, where you get out of the victim mentality, where you stop blaming your ex. Your ex, if they are a flawed, toxic person, or even someone who has a lot of narcissistic traits, they're going to go on living their lives and they're not your problem anymore, hopefully. And even if they are, you need to create a new life for yourself, okay? So they do what they do, and you're now going to create a life that you're going to love, okay? So it's really important that you shift the focus in that way. In order to create a life that you really love, where you won't run into the same problem again and again and again, you have to accept some amount of responsibility for what happened to you. Okay, because they might be a narcissist, they might be abusive, they might be this and that. It may all be true, but you stayed. You know, you have to look inwards. You have to look at yourself and ask yourself, why was I a person who stayed? And this is not victim blaming. I have so much empathy for you who are in this situation. I understand. I'm not saying that you're stupid and that's why you stayed. I'm not saying you're weak and that's why you stayed. I'm trying to point towards something else. Is there something in your past or in your level of self-confidence, self-esteem that makes it so that you stayed in a relationship like this? And I understand that these relationships, they don't start out being terrible, right? They start out with a love bombing phase. They start out with everything being amazing, too good to be true. I understand that. But once you started seeing those red flags, why didn't you react? What was it that this person had that you wanted so badly that you were willing to completely ignore red flags? What did they have? That is your weak spot. What's your weak spot? That's really the key to make sure that you never end up in a relationship like this again. So I'll give you an example, okay? A made up example. Let's say you were with someone, let's say you're not financially well off and you're with someone who's extremely wealthy. You've always wanted to experience this kind of lifestyle. You're finally having this kind of lifestyle with this person. It's just your wildest dreams have come true, okay? In terms of financial freedom, financial wealth, this person is generously sharing with you. You're living in a mansion, whatever, you get the picture. And now you start seeing some questionable behavior from this person, okay? Maybe this is the weak spot that I'm talking about. In this situation, you may have been so happy with the lifestyle that you were willing to overlook the red flags for too long. Okay, you were willing to give them the benefit of the doubt for too long. You didn't stand your ground because you had a lot to lose that you were very, very happy with. And it can be something other than wealth. This was just an example. It can be being a part of the narcissist or the toxic person's family, and you've always wanted that family connection. Finally, you have that family connection. And it could be all kinds of things, right? It can be that you're with a very, very handsome, beautiful, attractive person, and maybe you have low self-esteem and you never thought you could attract a person like this, and they suddenly start treating you somewhat badly and you ignore the red flags, etc., etc. There was something that made you stay. Okay, and it can also be another thing that can make you stay, which is another blind spot that you might not even be aware of, is what you have been used to in the past. Have you been used to fitting yourself into situations that are unacceptable? So if you grew up with parents who didn't take care of you the way that they were supposed to, either they didn't give you attention, they abandoned you, something else, maybe even worse happened, and you found a way to be in that situation, you found a way to cope with that situation, that could mean that you've developed some coping skills that are no longer serving you because your whole alarm system is not really active. You've inactivated it. Maybe you completely dissociate when stuff like that happens. Okay, so it also has a lot to do with how you grew up. So here we got it. There are some blind spots, and there is the matter of how you grew up and what you have gotten accustomed to and what you are now able to be comfortable with. You know, some people who have not experienced bad things in their childhood, they'll be very shocked when something bad happens in a relationship in their adulthood. But if you've already experienced similar things throughout your whole life, it's not shocking to you anymore, and you have found ways to cope with it. But should you be coping with something like that? No, you absolutely should not. Okay, and again, we can say, yeah, so you were a victim of that in your childhood. Sure, you know, you were, but it doesn't serve you to stay in that victimhood. So get out of the victimhood, and I'm saying it out of love because I want the best for you and I want you to succeed in life. So if you're currently still going through the phase where you have to do research on narcissism or toxic relationships or manipulative behaviors, then please do that. Take your time. But just know that there will come a time where you have to stop defining yourself by this story, by this narrative. Okay, because once you come out of a toxic relationship, a lot of people, they want to talk about it. They want to tell other people about it. They want to start kind of defining themselves by having been in this type of relationship and having come out of it. I mean, good for you that you got out. And if you're on the way out right now, I just encourage you, you can do it. Do it in a smart way though. Oh, this is a whole other topic. I shouldn't start this topic because I want to stay on track in this video. But if you're about to leave a toxic person, be smart. Go on YouTube, find videos. I'll make a video eventually on how to do it, but go on YouTube, find videos on how to do this in a smart way. Make sure you have backup. Don't be alone with them when you tell them, etc., etc. Okay? So be smart. But yeah, bottom line is that you can't stay in this state of victimhood. You have to get out of it. And then you have to start loving yourself, finding out what you like, finding out your blind spots, finding out how to work with it. Work with a professional. You can work with me. There's a link here below in the description if you want to. Find ways to create a life for yourself that is so great, where you feel so content that you don't have these blind spots. If your blind spot is financial freedom, find a way to earn more money so you can have some of that financial freedom. That's power, you know, that is power. And that puts you in a situation when you're not so needy for it, that you are willing to consciously or subconsciously ignore the red flags when you meet somebody. Okay, so whoever you meet should be an addition to your life, a positive addition to your life, of course, but they shouldn't be filling a huge, huge void. So if you have a huge void, that's the blind spot, and you got to fill it yourself first. And then whoever you meet, you won't be that desperate. That void can also be connection and love. So try to fill that, get some meaningful friendships, get a group. In general, toxic relationships have a hard time functioning if you have a very, very solid group of friends who are there for you, who will call you out, who will be there, you know, when things get tough. So make sure you have a circle. If you don't have your family, at least have a strong circle of friends. That's my advice today. I hope this video was helpful. If you liked it, please like the video and subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.